Hello friends, here in Utah we have been enjoying a long, gorgeous fall, and so of course I'm still in the mood to create with my beautiful October 2025 hip kits. This is the exclusively designed sweater weather collection and I love it. I love the colors, I love everything about it, all the different components here, and I'm just flipping through all of them and showing them to you. Now, one of my favorite things about this kit this month is that there's so many great papers that you can fussy cut to get additional elements. I showed you the tags there, I showed you the labels, the florals, there's little leaf pieces, there's leaf branches, all of those were fussy cut from these beautiful pattern papers. Of course, I have two of every of those pattern papers because I always love both sides and I definitely want to be able to have two of each paper so I can use both sides. Now today for my layout, my assignment is to create a wreath layout incorporating these frames. And these frames were fussy cut from one of the pattern papers. They are so beautiful, so many great colors and shapes to choose from. And so what I decided to do was to print out these photos of my daughter from 2016 from Halloween when she dressed up as a scarecrow. Her orange shirt and her cute rosy cheeks just matched this collection perfectly. Now I have scrapbooked these photos once before, but I always scrapbook my kids' Halloween photos twice because I put one of their layouts in their school album, because I think it's always fun to see, what you dressed up as with all your friends. And then we always have one in our family album as well. So I just love these photos and I'm excited to play with them again because it's been a few years actually since I've scrapbooked them. So I'm going to start out with this creamy wood grain background paper for my base. That is the Naturally Special paper. And then I'm going to add these photos in, of course, a wreath shape. I did go ahead and frame out the two smaller photos with those cute little frames, and I chose some golden orange and orange frames for those. And then to balance that color in the other portion or other corner of the layout, I just matted my larger photo with a piece of the 6x8 pattern papers from the Pocket Life kit. And I chose to go with that orange plaid because it reminded me so much of the orange plaid shirt that my daughter is wearing. Now for the background, I did go ahead and use a circle template to draw a light pencil circle on the background of my layout. I did erase it a little bit so it was lighter, so it's not quite showing up on camera, but hopefully you saw where that was. And now I'm just using that as a guide to place my other elements. Now the first thing I want to do is I went over to the Cardstock shape die cuts and I'm picking out some larger shapes to sort of anchor or pin down my photos and just to create like a photo corner or, I don't know, something larger to accent off of the photos, just to call attention to them. So I decided to go with these beautiful, colorful pumpkin die cuts. The next thing I'm going to do is bring in all of the fussy cut elements from the pattern papers. And I'm going to start with the largest elements. And for this, that would be these floral pieces. So you can see that I have that purpley colored pumpkin in the bottom left corner. And so from these florals, I'm picking out some of those pinkish purpley flowers to balance out the color in the two other areas on the page. And that starts to create a visual triangle. I'm also going to be doing that with all the other colors and elements that I start to add in. So that's one of the reasons I brought in that orange flower above the two smaller photos is because it's balancing out that orange pumpkin on the right side. So I have these teal pumpkins that are also accenting the photo. So I'm definitely going to bring in some teal elements in other areas of the page. So once I get some large floral pieces around the photos, now I'm going to build off of that by bringing in these small leaf branches. Now these leaf branches that I fussy cut from the pattern paper, they come in all shades of the collection. So you've got two pinks, a darker pink and a lighter pink. You have a soft blue, you have a teal blue, and then you have an orange. So I'm just going to start adding these in one at a time. And as I'm doing this, I'm just making sure that I'm balancing out the colors around the page. So you can see I had the darker pink in 3 different areas. I had the teal, I have the orange. So that's what I'm doing is I'm just adding these in one at a time, following that circular shape that I've penciled in the background and just balancing out the colors. So I'm going to take a moment to do this. And that's pretty much what I do with the remaining elements as I bring in each of these fussy cut elements is just play with them one by one, making sure to balance out the colors. So let's go ahead and watch that for a moment. I'm feeling pretty good with this design at this point. I love how the leaves are forming that circular shape, and really I could have left it just as it is. So if you don't like to do a lot of fussy cutting, this would be a great place to stop. You have your wreath shape, you have your main components that are framing out your photos, and you're good to go. However, I just really love all the little pieces that I have fussy cut, and so I wanted to bring in some more color. And I did this by going to the leaf paper and bringing in these navy blue berry branches. My daughter is wearing blue jeans along with her scarecrow costume, and I just thought this navy color would be a nice grounding color to bring in and also sprinkle in a different shape. So you've got these round berries that are mimicking or repeating the smaller berries that were in some of the floral clusters. So I'm just going to tuck a few of these in. I'm also going to bring in an acorn and accent the bottom pumpkin cluster with that. And then I'm also going to start bringing in some larger leaves just to vary the size and shape of the leaves that I already have. Of course, like I mentioned before, the leaf branches are perfect. Everything looks super cute before, but I really like to layer in different sizes and shapes of things. And so I will take a moment to bring in some of those oak leaves, those aspen leaves, and those maple leaves. And again, I'm just making sure I'm paying attention to how the colors are distributing across the layout, and making sure that it's balanced. If I add in a purpley pink leaf in one area, I'm going to make sure I add it in two other areas so I have that visual triangle that helps your eye to bounce around the page. I did the same thing with the golden maple leaves, and then there's a few spots in here that I want to fill out, so I'm just adding in a few more of those navy berry branches and finishing this off. I love the way that all of this turned out, and all of my decorating is done with those fussy cut elements, but I'm missing a title and some journaling. So I'm headed over to the Chipboard Resist die cuts, and I'm going to use those as my title. Now there is a lot of color, a lot of movement and texture happening already, and so these final pieces I'm going to bring in, I'm going to make them all the same color. Now I could have just left them as white. I really like that look. I think it looks really pretty, but what I decided to do was to ink these up with some dark navy blue ink. I'm just using like a little sponge dauber here to brush on that ink, and as you put it on, where the resist pattern is on those chipboard pieces will resist the ink. So you have this really cute pattern that is printed on each of these. So on that happy, you've got the polka dot pattern that's going to come out as you ink that up. On the fall, you've got the plaid. And then on the 3 chipboard hearts, you also have some patterns. There's a medium plaid heart over on the frames on the left side. And then I have a small and a large heart in the top left corner of the large photo. I'm going to now bring in just some sparkly accents here. These are from my stash, just some clear gems to accent each of these hearts, and then I'll also sprinkle a few around the title just to finish that off. Just really simple since I have so much going on with the fussy cut elements. Now the last thing I'm going to add in here are a couple of puffy phrases. I will add those to the top of the large photo, and then I will add a strip of journaling below my title. The other thing I will add off camera that you'll want to notice in the closing shots is a bit of thin white twine that I just tied around the H of my title to give it some texture. And that will complete my layout. Again, this is Jana.eubank for Hip Kit Club using the Sweater Weather collection exclusively designed by Hip Kit Club and available in their October 2025 kits. I hope you enjoyed this video, that it inspired you, and that you'll come by and see more of us soon. All right, thanks so much for watching. Take care.